I know it comes as a shock to y'all, but trust me, this is not
a shock to you.
I've had doubts about our connection.
This means if the bombshell chooses you, Andreina will be single again and will face America's vote.
I hope.
I am going to have a controversial take on this Tyrique situation. So if I hurt your feelings, sorry. I feel like Tyrique knew that production wanted him to pick the package, open the package. Because why was he allowed to leave the guy's bedroom and go and speak to Justine while everybody else wasn't allowed out? And how did he not notice the packages being delivered when everybody else noticed the packages being delivered? Just humor me, because at the end of the day, if he came out the same way the guys came out, why did he not see the two boxes in the courtyard? And why is it he was allowed to go and see Justine? I have a feeling he went to Justine, gave her a heads up, and just told her that this is what they want me to do. And whether or not he went for the kiss is something else, but that's just my opinion. And I'm here for the three amigos. I am here for the three amigos. Johnny, Marvin, and Tyrique are going to move like menaces in this villa. I am not surprised that Johnny decided to jump ship, because he did the same thing to Jess. If you watch Jess's season, I know I keep bringing it up, but he did that before. So I'm not surprised. But anyway, hey there. Thanks for stopping by. It's your girl, Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. Click the like button. Turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos. And definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Love Island Games Season 2, Episode 10. I really don't know how I feel about this Kendall Gabby situation. Anyway, so the Islanders pick up their drinks and you have Gabby sit down with Andrea having a chat. They're sort of having a catch up about the challenge and how things are going for them. Gabby is saying she really likes Kendall. She can see a romantic connection developing. That's the impression they were giving us up until now, but now I don't think so. I think Kendall is being strategic. He knows Gabby was the strongest girl in the villa, so he's decided to stick to her and play with her. Because he goes for a chat with Lucinda and she's complaining bitterly that Gabby has it out for her because she knows Kendall and Lucinda are best friends, so it doesn't make sense why she kept pouring stuff in Lucinda's cup. And it's like, it wasn't just Lucinda, it was Lucinda and Isaiah. And for Kendall to ask her, does she not know that, you know, I love you, you're my closest friend, make it make sense, I don't understand it. And it's like, Kendall, you should be worried about Gabby more than you're worried about Lucinda, because how can you prioritize Lucinda over your partner? Make it make sense. How can you be more worried about Lucinda's feelings than the person you're in a team with? I don't understand it, and I was side-eyeing him, and now I understand why Johnny wants to get him out, because he is slippery. He is slippery. He can actually sort of slide away with it and get away with it. Tyrique and Johnny are sort of an alliance I didn't see coming. But I think Johnny knows that Tyrique is very naughty and is going to get a lot of airtime. And I think he also knows that Tyrique has got a very good social game. This is why he's decided to sort of align himself with Tyrique. So they're having a connection, and Johnny is saying, you know, yes, Andreina looks good, but there's nothing there. There needs to be a lot more than just a physical appearance, because physical appearance can just, you know, get you so far. And in the end, he's realizing, because when Tyrique said, I cannot have confidence for someone who doesn't have confidence themselves, or I cannot build you up if you are not willing to build yourself up, Johnny's now saying, oh, I now understand what you meant. Because at the time Tyrique said it, everyone was side-eyeing him and saying, oh, Tyrique is being malicious, is being mean, But now they can actually see it, because this is the same issue she had with Brian. And this is the reason I think Pepe didn't want her. And now she's in this situation whereby I've questioned it before, I've called it out, that she needs to stop using her body. She needs to stop kissing these guys and actually take time to assess what's going on and find out if this person is really interested in her or if she's just wasting her time. Anyway, while the Islanders are having conversations, Lucinda receives a message. Islanders, please gather at the fire pit for the results of today's challenge, baby birding. Everyone is anxious because they don't know who won. They want to know who won the game. The Islanders gather around the fire pit and it's revealed that, you know, the winners were Sydney and Toby were the power couple, and then Andreina and Johnny were the runners-up. So they're the two couples that are safe. Andreina was excited. She really was excited because to her, this is the first time she's been safe in any sort of challenge. And Johnny's busy complaining to everyone else that he is carrying the team. She's not doing anything. Hopefully he speaks to her after that, because Tyrique has already encouraged him to have a conversation with her and let her know where they stand. Lucinda goes for a chat with Isaiah, and she is still bitter about this Gabby situation. You know, she's complaining bitterly. Gabby has it out for me. She doesn't like me. And it's like, why would you say that? Gabby, even if she put it in your cup, it wasn't just you on your own. You were a team. How do you know? Maybe it's Isaiah that she doesn't like. Isaiah was saying Josh doesn't like him. I get it. Josh is upset at the idea that Isaiah sent his friend home, because Josh, his number one guy was Chris, and now that Chris is gone, he has no one and is fluttering. And instead of him building an alliance with Isaiah, he's now going after Isaiah, and the American team are sort of just crumbling. Isaiah, well, Lucinda was saying to him, I love how very supportive you were, and they were sort of saying they compliment each other. Well, Isaiah was saying he's never really had a girl that compliments him. And it's like, Lucinda is a chameleon. She'll adapt herself to whatever guy she's in a couple with. We've seen this with Matt. I've seen this with Zach. So I wouldn't be surprised if she adapts herself to be the girl that you need and sort of portray that. And Gabby and Kendall finally go for a chat. Kendall is upset because he's saying, you know, oh, the problem is Lucinda is my closest friend in the villa, and she feels like you were picking on her. Gabby on her part says, I was just trying to get the stuff out of my mouth, so I was just pouring it into the nearest cup to me. So whatever cup that was, that's what I was pouring into. And it's just now that I'm seeing that actually I must have poured a lot more into Lucinda's cup. And it's like, even if Gabby hadn't poured it in Lucinda's cup, there's no way Lucinda was going to win. How much did Gabby pour in her mouth that she makes it seem like, you know, Gabby's the villain? I didn't like that. I really didn't like that. And I agree with Gabby that it felt like she was more on trial than anything. It wasn't like, you know, her partner was sort of having a conversation. It felt like he was interrogating her and sort of blaming her for the situation that they were in, which I really don't like, and I agree with her walking off. She needed time to cool off. So after Gabby walked off, you had Kendall run to Sydney, and it's like, Kendall is running to put out the fires everywhere, because I think he knows that Lucinda is busy telling everyone, or maybe he's just trying to pretend to be the victim of Gabby's poor decision-making skills, because he went to, you know, to Sydney and was complaining bitterly, oh, I feel betrayed because, you know, she knows Lucinda is my closest friend, and the fact that she walked off, I don't like someone walking off when I'm in the middle of a conversation. And it's like, you don't like it, that doesn't mean she has to like it. If she is uncomfortable and wants a break, then you have to go with what she's asking for. You can't force her to speak to you if she doesn't want to speak to you. So I didn't like that. It wasn't a good look for Kendall. Finally, we get to see Ty and Justine. Obviously, Ty and Justine are vulnerable. They go for a chat. Tyrique is saying there's no bad blood. I just want us to move on. I've forgiven you for picking Josh. I think this is because Toby talked him down, but I don't think so. I think Toby was unable to de-escalate him. I think he's going to try and play the good guy, as he said, and then he's going to strike when the iron's hot. Justine was questioning that your sudden turnaround is surprising. Are you playing games with me? And it's like, what do you think, Justine? You told him you were playing a game. He's just doing the same. He is doing exactly the same thing that you're doing. So you can't say to him, are you playing me? When you started with it, if you had told him, okay, let's not be serious, let's not be romantic, let's just focus on the game, he would have done the same, but you sort of entertained this nonsense. I was saying Johnny when he was having a conversation with Andreina, because Andreina was happy that they're safe. You know, she was happy that, you know, they were able to sort of escape being vulnerable this time. Johnny, in his confessional, was complaining that he feels like, you know, he's sort of in the situation whereby he is constantly being Superman and is having to save his partner, and she is not putting in any effort. And it's like, I get it. I really get it. Andreina, I think looking at her, you think she's very athletic, she's very competitive, but when it comes down to it, she seems like just a marshmallow. She seems like just wanting to go, you know, whichever way the wind is going, which is really sad. Finally, Gabby and Lucinda go for a chat, and Gabby apologizes. She says, "Well, what I did wasn't personal. I know you're upset because you feel like I targeted you, but what I did wasn't personal. I was just trying to get the stuff out of my mouth, so I was just pouring it in the nearest cup." Lucinda was happy with that explanation, or she appeared to be. Because Gabby said, "I feel really bad. You're my closest friend, and I really never meant to hurt your feelings." So it seems for the time being they've forgiven each other. But I wouldn't buy whatever nonsense Lucinda's selling, because Lucinda is no better than Kendall. This is why they get along. So they were able to mend bridges on that and seem to be moving on very well. You have the islanders get ready for the night. And I don't understand this woman. I really don't. And Reina is busy telling the girls that my number one is Johnny. So whatever Johnny wants us to do is what I'm going to do. And Justine had to say, you need to remember that you're playing your own game. You're not just here to play Johnny's game. You're here to play your game as well. So if you continue doing what Johnny wants, then you're going to be in trouble. Which is the truth, though. Which is the truth. The guys were busy asking Johnny, so where do you stand? Johnny's still very nervous because at the end of the day, he's doing all the heavy lifting and his partner is just coming along for the ride. Everybody goes to bed. Everyone seems to be making out, except for a few couples. People like Gabby. Gabby and Kendall in bed was awkward. It was really awkward. And I'm happy she hasn't done anything that's over the top, because she would have regretted it. And hopefully this is a red flag for her and she keeps an eye for any changes. In the morning, the guys get breakfast ready. Surprise, surprise. Kendall makes breakfast for Gabby. I thought he wasn't going to. I think he's trying to sort of play on the fence, try and be sweet to Gabby while he's being sweet to the rest of the group, because at the end of the day, he just wants to win. Toby, everyone is sucking up to him. Everyone is sucking up to him because they know he's in the power couple, so they think he's going to save them. But the thing is, Tyrique the night before was telling Toby that one thing I know is I'm your number one. So whatever happens, that I know for a sure. Everything else, I'm not certain about. You then have Tyrique go for a chat with Justine. Tyrique and Justine, for me, are a bit tricky because I think they really like each other romantically. But at the same time, Tyrique is hurt, and we all know what he does when he's hurt. He lashes out. We saw him when Ella brought someone from Casa and how he lashed out. And this is how he's going to lash out. He's going to try and do it not as bad as he did on the UK version, because he doesn't quite understand the US viewers, but he's going to try and be a menace anyway. He asked for a massage because he's complaining of shoulder pain. She gives him a massage. There was a bit of flirting, and they seemed very comfortable and at peace. Justine was saying, you didn't make me breakfast, and I understand your feelings are hurt. Well, what can you do? You opened that door. He just stepped in with his pettiness. I don't understand Nicola. So she's having a conversation with Andreina. All the guys that were in the villa at one point, she was complaining that they don't like her romantically. Now she's saying there's no romantic spark with Marvin. I get it. It would just seem way too convenient. So she is there to have a good time, according to Nicola. That's all she's interested in. For her to stay in the villa as long as possible, for her to have a great time. She feels like if she were to win the 250K, she wouldn't know what to do with it because it's too much money. The only thing she would probably do is to get her car washed. On her part, Andreina is saying the same. She also says, I wouldn't know what to do with all that money. That's a lot of money. Well, you'd get someone to advise you. That's all I can say. Gabby and Justine then went for a chat on the terrace because Gabby's still hurt by what Kendall did. And I love that Justine told her that you have to look out for these things because they can be red flags. So if you're saying you feel betrayed and you feel hurt that he prioritized everybody else over you, then you need to take a note of that, because you don't want to have your heart broken by someone who's playing up with you, which I understand and I totally agree with. Justine was asked about Ty, and she said he's a good partner. She doesn't know where they're going romantically, but she knows that they make a great team, which is sad because she was played by Josh, but hey, that's a story for another day. Finally, we get Johnny and Andreina to sit down. I thought this was when he was going to be honest and tell her the truth, but he was complaining that, we are very superficial. We just don't dig deep. which I've already brought up before, because every time he tries to dig deep, she kisses him. Every time he tries to dig deep, she kisses him. So he's complaining that we need to dig deeper, we need to get to know each other better, we can't just be very superficial. And this is why people were saying they were a boring couple out last time. And she was complaining that, I don't want to open up because I don't want people to hurt me. And it's like, you can't continue to shut yourself out and then complain when people don't want to sort of open up to you. Because if you are constantly afraid that everyone is going to hurt you, then you're going to be in this no man's space where you're never going to get anything out of your connection. So you have Gabby and Kendall sit down for a conversation. What do I think about this chat? I am of two minds. I know Kendall is trying to make it seem like it's lost in translation, but he knows exactly what he did. Yes, there was apologies exchanged, but I still don't buy the apologies. At the end of the day, Kendall is wrong for not prioritizing his partner. That's his partner in the game. Yes, he needs alliances, but Lucinda is only one person. This is the person he's running the whole race with, or the person is expecting to run the whole race with, and there needs to be trust between the two of them in order for them to win. So for him to say that Gabby is in the wrong, I do not get it. Yes, he apologized. Yes, they feel iffy, but I didn't like it. I really didn't like it. I think he just went to squash it because he knew it wasn't going to be a good look, not because he was going to be understanding towards Gabby. And Gabby, this needs to be an eye-opener for her. She needs to be aware that anything could happen and this man could jump ship. If he could jump ship in the middle of them rowing and run to somebody else's ship, he is going to dump her at any given point. So she needs to be mindful of that. Andrea and Andreina had a conversation, with Andrea saying, I struggle to express myself, or I struggle to open up. And Johnny's complaining about this, and he's not the first person who's complained. It seems previous partners have complained about this. And I said it before, I'll continue to repeat it like I'm a broken record. She has always found a way to use her body to get away without being deep. That's the impression that I get. Because of the way she rushes to physical intimacy. She did the same thing with Brian on their season. She did the same thing with Tyrique on this season. She kept kissing him and making out with him. And she was doing the same thing with Johnny every time he tried to go deep. And so she needs to, at least she's taking responsibility. At least she's trying to work on herself. But I think she's working on herself for somebody else, not for this man, because this man ain't it. Anyway, the islanders get ready for the night. There's conversations about couples. John is still iffy about his couple because he thinks, he is carrying the team more or less. You have Tyrique go and pull Justine for a chat in Speakeasy. This is my opinion. Controversial it might be. I feel like Tyrique was going to give Justine a heads up. I feel like Tyrique knew that production wanted him to pick open the box. So he was going to give Justine a heads up. Because why? We've never seen it before, whereby somebody, while people are getting ready, just comes and pulls their partner for a chat. I am yet to see it. So for him to leave the guy's bedroom, or the bedroom, go upstairs, pick up Justine, go to Speakeasy, and not see the big boxes or the commotion outside with the boxes being set up, I don't understand it. How long were they in Speakeasy? Were they there for 2 hours? Because it doesn't make sense. They would have needed to set up the boxes. They would have needed Gabby and Casey to walk down and all that film crew before anything else. So I have a feeling Tyrique knew this is what production wanted him to do, and he tried his best to give Justine a heads up because, maybe he's not allowed to say what he's going to do, but I think he was trying to sort of pass on the information because she didn't seem, she seemed annoyed, but she didn't really seem surprised, which leads me to believe that she knew and Tyrique had given her a heads up, or had tried to give her a heads up. The guys then come out, they see the boxes and they run. Surprisingly, the first place they ran to was Speakeasy. And it's like, why is everybody going to Speakeasy? So the guys ran to Speakeasy, and then they were like, what's going on here? And then from there they went to get the girls. Why would they go to Speakeasy? Did Tyrique tell them he was going to Speakeasy, or was Tyrique called to go to Speakeasy? I don't quite get it. It sounded a bit controversial there. And Johnny is the one who opened the door, so it could be Tyrique or told him that they were going to Speakeasy. They get the girls. Everybody's shocked. There's 2 massive boxes in the courtyard, and they don't know what's in the boxes. We have 2 bombshells come in. I personally don't understand who Casey knows. I want to know who Casey knows. Because I used to think that maybe he knows someone who owns the land that Love Island UK is filmed on, and that's why he's always going there. But I don't get it. Every Love Island, he's there. He was in Love Island this season. He went to All Stars 1, he went to All Stars 2. Now he's for all Love Island games. Who does he own? Does he know the producers? Does he know the creators of the show? Something doesn't make sense. So Casey and Gabby are the Bombshells. When I initially saw it somewhere, I thought, no, it was a joke. But they are the Bombshells. They come in, they're in the boxes. You have Ariana Madix come out. She reveals that the islanders, the ones that are vulnerable, the 10 islanders, will get a postcard whereby they can pick either to return to sender or to open the box. Depending on their answer, then they will either get the option to sort of couple up with the person in the box. And if you couple up with the person in the box, then you are safe. And even the couples that were safe were given the same option. So they went through the couples. First up was Andrea. Andrea decided to return to sender. Josh decided to return to sender as well. Surprise, no. Nicola decided to open the package. Marvin decided to open the package. I think it makes sense. I think production wanted Nicola safe, so they got her to write open the package, because it doesn't make sense. We'd previously seen her have a conversation with Andreina, where she was saying that there's no romantic spark, so I don't quite get it. Are we trying to get rid of Marvin? Is he not being a menace as we expected him to be? Lucinda wrote return to sender. Isaiah wrote to return to sender. Not surprised. Gabby wrote return to sender. Kendall wrote return to sender. They said, even though we've had a tough time, but we're going to do this. And then Tyrique and Justine, I feel like that was the spin that production wanted. They needed conversations. They needed the toxicity. And they know that they have a day where they're not showing a current episode. So they needed the drama. So it makes sense that they would want someone to be messy. Justine wrote return to sender. It would make sense that she wanted to return to sender to gain Tyrique's trust. And Tyrique, on his part, wrote open the box. And it's like, Tyrique is going to be messy. He is going to be messy as it is. And as he was saying his speech, you could see Toby was nervous. Toby was nervous. He was very panicky because he knew that Tyrique was about to be a menace. And there was nothing he could do about that. He couldn't warn his friend. He couldn't say anything. He just sat there and watched the train go off the rails. Then it was revealed that the two safe couples, they could choose to return to sender or to open the package. Sydney and Toby decided to not open the package, and they both decided to return to sender. It doesn't make sense, especially if you're in the power couple, to want to sort of rock the boat. For Johnny and Andreina, the message was on the wall, but she didn't want to read it because this guy has been telling everybody with ears outside of her that he's not happy in his couple. And we know Johnny can lie to his partner and then twist, as he did to Jess. So she wrote, return to sender. She said, I'm happy in my couple. This was a no-brainer. John on his part said, this was very hard for me. This was very hard. So I've decided to open the package, which meant that Nicola was the only girl who wanted to open the package. And with the guys, we had the three musketeers, Melvin, Tyrique, and Johnny. The boxes were open. We got to see Casey and Gabby. It was revealed they're exes. I don't understand. Casey's joke fell flat when he said, I've done all of Love Island UK, so I have to move abroad. And it's like, we're enough. It's enough. He needs to look for a different show. Apparently, he runs marathons. This was revealed by Ariana Madix. So he says he's got endurance. I wouldn't have thought it because of the way he behaves. Next thing, he'll be lounging around the villa in his Speedos. That's what he's good at. So you then have Casey be told that because Nicola was the only one who chose him, he is now in a couple with Nicola. Nicola is happy because that means she's safe, so she gets to sit on the safe bench. The three guys are then told it's now up to Gabby to pick who she wants. Kendall was right to say if Gabby picks Johnny, then they are going to win it. There's no doubt about it because they have the muscle and they have the endurance. As it turned out, you had Gabby picked to couple up with Johnny. Am I surprised? No. Tyrique was going to be safe either way. He was always going to be safe, regardless of the fact of whether he was picked or not, because his best friend is the one who was one of the power couples. Tyrique and Marvin are told to go back to the vulnerable bench, and they had to wait their fate. So which meant that for the vulnerable islanders, the girls was Andreina, Lucinda, Gabby, and Justine. For the boys, it was Josh, Mervyn, Isaiah, Kendall, and Tyrique. The power couple were then asked to save someone, and the way it was set up was Toby was going to save a girl, and Sydney was going to save a boy. I think for Sydney it was sort of a twist. It was either she picked Isaiah, which would have then hinted that she wants to be in a couple with Isaiah, or she would have had to pick Tyrique. With Toby, it makes sense that you would pick the only UK girl there, which is Lucinda. It made sense. I was surprised that he didn't pick Justine. Maybe because Tyrique told him not to pick Justine. I don't quite get why he didn't pick Justine. So he decided to pick Lucinda. Lucinda was excited because he said he's known her for a number of years. And it makes sense that he would save Lucinda because they are from the same country. She is a number for him. And they need the numbers over the Americans because at the moment the Americans are the ones with the majority of the numbers. Sydney, on her part, said she was trying to, foster alliances and sort of good faith. So she decided to save Tyrique. Am I surprised? No. Because Toby was nervous when she started speaking. I think Toby didn't know which way she was going to lean, whether she was going to lean with Isaiah or whether she was going to lean with Tyrique. She picked Tyrique, and I think that puts her in good faith with the guys, which means that they are always going to, save her if they have to save any girl outside of the UK girls. So I can't wait to see what happens next. I don't understand the Tyrique backlash. I think Tyrique did just exactly what everybody else did. John is actually worse than Tyrique because he made his partner vulnerable by coming out of a safe couple and choosing somebody else to be safe with. Anyway, I can't wait to see what happens on Sunday. Thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe. Click on the link in my video to watch my review from episode 9. Bye everyone.